Stop.
We do have ABS in here. You have to come to a complete standstill. I don't know what's in the normal test.
Hey guys, welcome to another video. So today we've got another mock driving test, but not with a learner driver. As you can see, we've got a special guest. This is Tim, also known as Shmi 150. Yeah. So I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm incredibly nervous.
Well, you shouldn't be, guys. So if you, the ones that don't know of Shmi, so could you tell us a bit about yourself?
I guess I'm a YouTube social media car guy.
Car guy, exactly. Those words, car guy. Yes. So you shouldn't really be nervous, should you?
I shouldn't be nervous, but I did my driving test 18 years ago or something like that. Obviously, these days I'm lucky through my videos to drive all sorts of crazy hypercars, supercars in all different countries, and I don't really know where this is going to go. I think it's one of those. I know that drivers pick up habits and things like that, so I'm going to be interested to see what your feedback's going to be on my driving, where hopefully I'm going to get a perfect clean sweep. But
it doesn't happen very often when I'm marking, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. So any questions before we start?
I don't think I'm allowed to ask too much, am I? We're here for a mock driving test.
Yep.
No, so, you know, we're here in an unusual car. My first car was a 2005 Renault Clio, a 1.2 litre 4-cylinder. This is the Clio V6, which has a V6 engine behind us. Yeah. So there are definitely some quirks of this car that are going to make it a little bit unusual, but it's like a blast from the past.
So guys, just to, we've already had a little feel of this car, yeah. So we've driven outside London now to a test centre, and yeah, on the way here, I think it's going to be quite exciting.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So, you know, I'm trying to think back to everything. I know things have changed a little bit since, but I also know that I think you're going to throw me on the spot a little bit, probably, as we go.
But I'm just going to ask you to drive. So
we're going to drive. We'll make it fun for you guys as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how you get on. And if you do make any mistakes, I won't talk about them until the end of the test. Yeah,
I'm going to be building up the fear and hoping that you're not scratching your beard too often, because that's going to be the giveaway.
Yeah, people do normally say when I touch that, it means the learner's messed up, but yeah, I'll try not to anyway. Yeah. All right then. For those of you who are regular viewers, know that if Tim does make any faults, I will talk about them just before they happen. Yeah. Right. Are we ready?
I think so.
Cool. So whenever you're ready.
Vehicle's in roadworthy condition.
Yep, it looks.
Engine sounds amazing.
That's a bit loud, isn't it?
Nah, it's all good. Sounds good, ready to rock and roll. We've done a complete build on this car, so it started in a pretty sorry state.
So you bought this in a very sorry state. You said you spent quite.
It hadn't been started for around 8 years. There was a mouse.
That's a good start. The wipers on.
That doesn't normally happen. Okay, hold up. Where are we? Offers up in this. The funny thing is, before I'm like, do I take all of this off and just make sure that we don't have anything that's going to go wrong? I should have done that, shouldn't I? Oh well.
That's fine, not a problem.
That's so funny. Why are the wipers still going? There we go. There we go. Right, what I was saying, bought this car that hadn't been run for about 8 years. It needed full engine work, so we've had the engine out for a flywheel, clutch, everything. There was a mouse in the back of it, chewing away at the sound deadening and all of that. Every single body panel had some damage, some work. It needed new lights. So it's been a full ground up. We've obviously done brakes, suspension, the whole works, to make something that's like OEM plus. So colour changed, it was a black car, made it this acid yellow, which was an original Renault colour. I think it looks cool.
So it's something quite close to your heart, yeah?
It's a car that's very close to my heart, and it's the throwback as well to being a teenager, to being a teenage driver in the Clio that I had at the time.
That was your first car, you said?
That was my first car. That was like the car that had all of those early memories. And I always say that one of the most important things with driving is the bond and experiences that you build up with it,
definitely.
right? You hold those close to your heart. And some of my favourite moments were getting my first car, the first time I went anywhere with it, being able to have that freedom. So
I think a lot of learners, people who have passed can relate. It's like nobody forgets that time. It's like, it is a really good feeling, isn't it, when you get that freedom?
Yeah, a really good feeling. Now,
right then, we will definitely be talking more about your experiences. I think we should get started as well.
You're going to start me right now, or we've got a fire engine coming past? You're going to have to wait a moment. No, but mirrors are all in check. Car's fully roadworthy. Nice visibility.
When moving off, Tim does all the main observations apart from one. He doesn't check the right blind spot.
Fire engine on the flyby.
So ready when you are.
Alrighty. No pressure. I'm like amping up the pressure on myself because I know from the videos we've got a line of traffic coming at the moment, so just going to have to wait just a moment. All the cars that we're holding for the fire engine. I also have a habit of talking far too much about
That's fine. That's good.
about what's going on around me, but off we go. Up the high street, 30 mile per hour speed limit. Back in a manual.
Continue straight up these other lights.
It's funny for me because I spend my whole life driving, right? I drive probably 60,000 miles a year or that kind of region in a lot of different countries, in a lot of different cars. And there's always an unfamiliarity getting into different cars, especially on manufacturer test drives, to know where everything is, how the car controls work.
So we're going to be turning left.
Okay, turning left just here.
Coming up are two left turns close together. I should have confirmed it's a first turning that I wanted him to take. He was about to take the second one and then had to react quickly to take the first. This was fine as there was no one behind.
To be comfortable with everything, familiar with everything. Oh, I'm sorry. And now the turning circle of this car is horrific.
Right.
Great start.
You could probably blame me for that. I think I should have made him more clear the first turn. There were two left turns there.
Yes.
So
I was looking at the traffic light ahead. Obviously a lot to look out for here with driveways, turnings, and a cement mixer squeezing through a residential area.
He keeps a good distance from the lorry and holds back well for the oncoming vehicle. Tim doesn't get too close to the parked car.
Oh dear. Congested. Patience. Squeeze through.
and if you could park up anywhere safe on the left, please.
Here is Tim's first serious fault. When parking up, he doesn't want to block a driveway, which is good. When he does find a safe spot to park up, he drives slightly past it and then reverses to it. This is okay to do, but before reversing, you're supposed to carry out all-round observations, which Tim doesn't do.
Yeah, a little bit further because there aren't the longest bits between driveways. I feel on the spot with not wanting to block somebody's driveway here. We squeeze on that bit, that's very tight, but I think we can just make a squeeze.
So on that note, just got to pick up my notepad and move off when you're ready, please.
When we're ready.
This time, he does check the blind spot before moving off.
Okay, here is signal and maneuver. I'm quickly having a throwback to all of my early days of driving lessons.
So what was your driving lesson experience like?
So I learned to drive with my dad. I had a couple of driving lessons. But my dad's a very keen driver, so he was keen to get us out. In fact, when I was a teenager, we lived next door to a farm. So when I was about...
Sorry, could you turn right, please? Yeah, next turning on the right.
When I was about 14, 15 years old, I was already learning hill starts. We had a Honda CR-V was the car that I learned to drive in. So
when turning right here, Tim steers a touch too early and cuts the corner.
Comfortable with the car itself already.
Yeah, that was a bit of an advantage, wasn't it?
Definitely. So as a 17-year-old then going out onto the road with my provisional license, again with my dad, it was not having to worry about those initial things. I've done some young driver...
Turn right, please.
Some young driver training and just practice. So it just made a little bit more comfort with it. But then obviously within about 2 weeks of being 17 and being able to drive, it was off we go.
So key question, how many attempts did it take you to pass?
First time. First time back then.
This situation Tim deals with well. We do have to reverse, and this time he does his checks even though they were slightly late.
I suspect this could be a little bit of a roadblock.
Yes, I think so. So we'll wait a minute or so and see whether it's... Is anybody sitting in the driver's seat?
I don't think so. I think they are construction workers.
Right, we may have to reroute if they don't move in the next minute.
I mean, if you were on your actual driving test right now, this would be a moment of fear. It happens though. It's life on the roads.
Not really. I'd like... obviously the learner might get nervous, yeah, but if this happens on your test, you wait patiently, yeah, this could take 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that time will be taken off your test.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Have I given him enough room? Nope, I think he wants more room. Okay, let's reverse back this way. Oh dear. And I see you writing notes, that always scares me.
And again, if you could park up anywhere safe, please.
Again, parking up in a safe place causes Tim an issue. Same as earlier, he decides to reverse into a spot without checking all around, even though he does say there's no one behind. We're reversing into a space behind another car, so he should have checked the right blind spot before our vehicle swung out.
These are challenging places to park up. I think we can do that one. So there is nothing behind us. Park up behind the Mercedes here.
In the end, Tim decides not to stop and moves off, but doesn't check the right blind spot before doing so.
It's not a dropped curb. There are cars there, but it's not a dropped curb. Unusual. I'm going to change my choice of location because that is a weird scenario on the road. Normally, a legal off-road parking spot would have to have a dropped curb, and that does not. But rather than causing them potential inconvenience, let's go a little bit further up the road where we can see it's clear. Is there a yellow line there? There's a yellow line there, so we'll have to use the other side of the road, which is a drop curb. I'm not doing very well here.
Sorry, keep driving now.
At this point, I'm out.
Here, Tim does well by not getting too close to the bus and does good mirror checks before and after overtaking the bus.
Oh, bad luck on my behalf.
Turning left, yeah?
Yeah, through here. Bus is stationary in the bus stop. We are okay to squeeze through.
So, Tim, tell me, how did you get into all this, like the cars and everything? Like, obviously in the previous video that we've uploaded, we've seen your car collection in there, and it's like an amazing car collection. So, how did you get into all of that?
When I was a kid, my dad was into cars. He always had like an M car or an AMG, those kind of things.
Sorry, turning right here, second exit.
No problem. And
oh no, sorry, my bad, straight ahead. Oh, sorry, that's the next roundabout.
No.
Sorry, we're not going to mark this one.
No, when I was a kid, I was always into cars. My dad was super into cars as well. Around the time of being a young teenager, he had an E46 M3, which was the coolest thing, right? SMG, semi-automatic gearbox. And that was probably the first car I ever, I'm going to say drove, but more manoeuvred around into the garage, you know, parked it away. But I was always, any opportunity, you know, if we were at a young driver school, airfield type event, I would love to try and give it a go. I was always fascinated by the world of supercars, and I loved electronics, cameras, gadgets.
Straight ahead, please.
So for me, combining all of those with the world of social media and being able to make video content was almost, you know, a no-brainer. It pulled everything together, and just enabled me to follow my passion. And I never expected back then the views that would come in, and the opportunities, you know, the people to meet along the way, to have some amazing moments, and to be part of, I think, inspiring a generation who love cars.
Yeah.
So it's one of the coolest things I could have ever imagined, to be able to spend my life around cars.
So what advice would you give to, like, obviously we've got quite a young audience that watch, and obviously you got to follow your passion. What kind of advice would you give?
I had one of the most bizarre career paths, because when I was young I used to trade stuff online. I had an eBay shop when I was a teenager, and then when things had gone quite well I decided to basically pack that in and go and spend a short period abroad training to be a ski instructor. So I love the mountains, the freedom, fresh air.
So you left everything here?
Kind of. Went and spent a lot of time abroad in the Alps, and then because of the inverse, obviously times of year, down in the southern hemisphere in New Zealand for our summers, their winters. Then came back and managed to land a job in finance here, which fortunately enabled me to purchase my first upmarket car, an Aston Martin. Okay. And that was really where my already existing YouTube channel, which I had begun when I had a BMW 123D 1 Series, where it really started to take off. But I think the thing I would say to people is that you can be successful in so many different fields. You know, there's not like one magic formula that's the key to success. It doesn't work like that. If you enjoy what you do, you work hard at it. If you work hard at...
Now this was my favourite part of the test. You can see the national speed limit signs. The way Tim builds up speed and slows down before the bends is really good. You can tell I was enjoying how he was speeding up. The car sounded amazing.
Many different things. You can be successful in those fields. You can make your own success. There's a lot of luck in life, but you can also bring the luck in your favour by the way that you work and the effort and determination you put in. I always believe that if you do something that you love, you never work a day in your life. Because you wake up and you enjoy it, and you get out there, and every morning it's kind of, yes, this is what I'm doing today, this is what I'm here for. So
it just makes it a lot more easier to do every day.
I think that's one of the most important things, is to work hard, always trying to do the right thing, and to really put in the effort, and the effort will bring about the rewards at the end of the day.
It's not easy, is it? It's not easy. Even though you do something you love, it's not easy. You still got to put the hard work in.
Yep. Nothing in life just happens. I think there's a lot of a sense that, you know, we should all just have everything spoon-fed to us on a plate, but the reality is that it doesn't really work like that.
Really like that.
You know, you need to put the effort, and that brings the returns.
Wow.
I love the sound of this car. There's a horrible bump on the left side there. Just turning left here.
Turn left,
This is a particularly nasty junction, isn't it? From a standstill on a 70 mile per hour road. Gotta watch out for the traffic. Lane 1 is clear. Go.
Again, the way he builds up speed here, you can tell I was enjoying it. The main thing was he stayed within the speed limit.
Enjoy the revs to get up to the highway speed. And we gotta stop there. Definitely something to be.
At this roundabout we are turning right. It's a spiral mark roundabout, and I've seen many experienced drivers mess up on their lane discipline. Tim does really well. He follows the marking and shows good lane discipline.
Aware of. Somebody on their driving test, maybe?
I think that was a lesson. The way you can tell someone's on their driving test, the passenger will have a high vis on.
Okay.
Examiners have high vis on them.
Good to know. I hope I'm doing okay. I will find out at the end.
this right turn, Tim shows excellent awareness. He notices a motorcyclist coming up behind just as we are about to turn. A good example of why mirrors should be checked.
Following the car ahead of us, give sufficient time to the vehicle behind. Entering another residential area. Hopefully with slightly less of a parking disaster. I'm aware of a motorbike on my right. Hopefully he's not going to come past. No, good.
That was very good observations.
Yeah, well, it's one of those, I think, things. I also used to cycle to work in London quite often. And when you spend a bit of time, 2 wheels and 4 wheels, you understand what the other type of vehicle is thinking, and where they might be and where they might be positioned.
Bit more forward.
I've asked him to park up as I'm going to ask him to do the reverse parallel parking maneuver.
Okay, and now if you could do the reverse parking maneuver using the car in front, please. So pull up next to it and then park nice and close to the curb, please.
You know the turning circle on this car is not great, right?
Yeah, I've
Just
seen
on the spot.
When you do finish up, Tim, you don't have to finish too close to that car. You can leave
About where we are or further forwards?
just slightly further forward, just under a car length.
Okay.
He parks up well as expected, but again his observations let him down. One of the main observations we look for is the right blind spot just before our vehicle swings out. He misses that check.
Pull alongside. There's nobody around us. Indicate just should somebody appear. We will tuck in right about there. I'll pull it forwards just so we're a little bit neater. Wheel straight, neutral.
Okay,
That's all right.
cool. Right, thank you, and move off when you're ready, please. So, shortly I'm going to actually do the emergency stop now, yeah?
Okay.
When doing the emergency stop, Tim stops well, but when moving off after the emergency stop, you're supposed to check both blind spots. Tim takes a quick glance to the right, but doesn't check the left blind spot.
Everything's going to go flying.
Stop!
We do have ABS in here. Do you have to come
Thank
to
you.
a complete standstill? I don't know what's in the normal test, but we're clear, there's nobody around.
Thank you. I was going to say move off when you're ready, but you've already moved
There
off.
was a car coming behind us, so I didn't want to obstruct the road.
Right, so we've got a width barrier coming up soon. Would you like to go through that, or would you like to avoid it? I'm going to leave it to you because I know
we
you've
can go
got
through
nice
it.
alloys.
We can go through it.
You sure?
We're not in a supercar. This thing's
Cool.
small enough. 7-foot width restriction, absolutely no problem. I say that now.
We don't have these width barriers around Wolverhampton, so something new for you regular viewers. Obviously Tim has no issue steering through here. It would be interesting to see your view and experiences on these width barriers. Make sure you drop a comment.
When you're driving supercars, sports cars, you have to be so conscious of these kind of restrictions. I hope I'm not getting a passing test fail, but just making sure, a quick glimpse out the window, that we're okay. Very narrow. All fine. And away we go. Better to be safe than sorry.
Hey, just on the end will do there.
Yeah, just in front of me. I was just thinking, like, is that okay? Can I stop just in this part alongside
that's
the curb?
We're going to end the test here. No one likes it when I tell them they've failed. Time to break the news to Tim.
I'm just assuming that coming to a stop means neutral, handbrake.
Yep. And if you could switch off the engine.
Okay.
Right, so that's the end of the test.
Have I failed?
How do you think you did?
I think apart from the confusion earlier on, the biggest problem by far was trying to figure out the parking space. I have to admit my confusion because I'm aware that I actually read a news article the other day about how somebody's used a space just off the side of the road which wasn't designated as a dropped curb, and therefore the council put up bollards. So I'm not sure what the parking rules were around there. Braking all fine, parking all fine, I hope, when manoeuvring.
Okay, let's talk about the first point first. Yeah, your main issue whenever I ask you to park up anywhere safe, So it wasn't that you did find a safe parking spot, yeah. The first time, remember, you started to slow down and not warning anybody around.
I think there was a car behind us though.
Yeah, so even if there's no car behind, remember, before you start looking for a safe place to, before you start braking, make sure you found that place where you're going to park up. So you continue driving and only start slowing down after you've done your mirrors, warned others, and then start slowing down.
Yep.
Yeah, but that wasn't serious. But when you were stopping, so you'd found a spot and then you'd just reverse, yeah, and it was the observations. So firstly on a test, you know when you should park up, you're supposed to park up, just going forward, park up. But if you do have to reverse for any reason, yeah, do all round observations, which you weren't doing before reversing.
Okay.
Just looking there and reversing. So
And here,
yeah,
I think. But you have to
All
look
round.
over your shoulder, don't you?
and at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those were the checks that you would be. So,
Interesting.
so it wasn't just the parking position. You always
I knew
aware
it would be
that-
observations.
Yeah, so it was like I don't want to cause any problem there or there. You were always aware of that, which is good. Yeah, but the observations when you're reversing, and same on the parallel parking. Brilliant parking. You could have stopped a bit more further back. Yeah, which isn't an issue. But sorry, when you were reversing,
Yep.
observations before you reverse, and the key observations, yeah, which I go on about in all my videos, yeah, which a lot of people miss.
You always
is,
have to look more and
so,
look more and look again.
You know when you start turning to the left, and that vehicle swings out, that's when we cause the most danger, and that's where the examiner's always looking for that right blind spot check, which you missed.
So how does that work when you're conscious that there's no vehicle behind you? I mean, you still have to check?
Yeah. So you know in that mirror, yeah, and whatever you can see in that mirror.
I mean, this
you-
car
you
has
can't-
great visibility.
Yeah, you can't see in your blind spot. So if you look over your right shoulder, yeah, that's not your right shoulder yet. Bit more. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
where the B pillar is.
that's it. Yeah. Okay, so that's the check that I look for. So that was your main, just parking up really. Yeah, just the
Interesting.
observations, because everything else you
And
did.
the funny thing is, that's what I was trying to figure out. What are the things you have to do?
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
so focused on what are the things you have to do that I kind of sidetracked myself.
Yeah. In general,
funny.
like your build up of speed, your awareness of signs, you even noticed branches hanging off. It was like really good,
The normal.
and emergency stop. So that was, you know, when you moved off, the stopping was quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good reaction. Moving off again, observations.
Yeah.
I know you said
So I
there
was
was
aware of the red car behind
yeah,
us.
and you quickly moved off. So if the car's behind you, doesn't mean you have to rush off. That car could have easily overtaken
okay, so you put your hazards on,
or you could just put your left signal on, or put your right signal on to tell it that you're moving off, and just wait for
Okay.
it. What you didn't, you just want to quickly be out of its way,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
a lot of people do. You don't want to cause
So
any
this is
obstruction to
like
them.
this is one of those things that if you're learning for your test, you know that's what you're supposed,
supposed
to
to
do for
do,
the
yeah.
test. But
Yeah.
in reality, you have to deal with the situation.
Yeah.
Like every situation is going to be different.
Yeah. So there, all you should have done, you should have just been a bit more patient, and then before you move, you're supposed to check both blind spots because you're in the middle of the road, which we didn't do. Again, observations did you there? So just observations.
Look over your shoulders. Look over your
Observations,
shoulders.
really. Yeah, but as I expected, general driving really good, especially on that country lane where we were at the national speed limit. Yeah, 60. Your build-up was really good. Approach to the bends perfect. I was actually really enjoyed that part. You can see the.
Let's go drive more lanes.
you can see the smile on my face on that. Yeah, but
Observation,
yeah.
fail.
Yeah, the first time we moved up from the start, you didn't check your right blind spot, and I thought that was going to be a regular thing. But all the other times you checked it before moving off.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know, before you move off from park position.
Yeah. I remember at the start, I was so focused on the traffic after the fire engine that had gone past.
Yeah. Okay. How are you feeling?
Kind of annoyed. Because it's one of those things like
You knew the. I remember you were saying, if anything's going to get me, it's going to be my observations. So I'm going to make sure I do my observations well.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
but I have to be honest, because obviously I haven't looked at driving lessons for 18 years. I forgot that you're supposed to look over your shoulder so much. Because in a car like this, you can see a lot.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how big I actually kind of want to go measure how big the blind spot is in here.
Yeah.
But you
It's
feel,
not gonna
you
be
feel
much.
like
Yeah.
no, you feel like you know
It's covered,
everything
yeah.
that's around
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And certainly when you're like aware of following traffic and things, you're thinking like I know what's there, so you don't do all of those extra checks that you obviously have to do from a you know,
driving test point of view.
From the driving test
what the
point of view.
instructor, what the examiners are looking for.
Yeah.
The roundabouts are brilliant. Your roundabouts with the mark on with the traffic lights, that's quite a difficult roundabout. I expect all experienced drivers to mess up on there, but your lane discipline, the way you followed the lane and your mirrors on time, they were really good. Roundabouts were weird.
I did something good then.
Yeah, so that I used to understand when I planned the route this morning. I thought this route there's not many right turns at roundabouts, and when I saw that roundabout, that's why I should turn right instead of us following the sat nav, because it would have been a bit more challenging. I was expecting a mistake there, but there weren't any on those roundabouts. So they were really good. So none of those. Right, any questions?
When are we doing it in a supercar?
We'll leave that to the viewers if they want to see in a supercar. For me, this was a supercar.
It's a pretty super car.
Yeah, it was a really good experience. Really good experience. And Tim, thank you very much for being up for the video, guys. We reach out to many big YouTubers. Like you're in the big YouTuber category for me. Yeah, not many really agree. And Tim was like, he was up for it from as soon as he got here. It was brilliant, and he showed us around. Guys, check out the previous video, just showing us around. And the best thing is, he hasn't once rushed me for time that I've got to get this done quickly. He's like, take your time with everything. So, thank you very much, Tim.
It's been a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you, guys, and like always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.